February 1959. In the remote, snow-covered wilderness of the Ural Mountains, 9 young hikers set out on what should have been a challenging, but achievable, winter trek. Less than 2 weeks later, every one of them was dead. The circumstances were so bizarre that more than 60 years later, experts still struggle to explain what happened. Their final campsite showed signs of sudden panic. Footprints led into the darkness, and the bodies, when discovered, revealed injuries stranger than fiction. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a case that remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in history. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student with a reputation for leadership and meticulous planning. His team consisted of 8 other experienced hikers, 7 men and 2 women, all students or recent graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. They were no strangers to the brutal Siberian climate, equipped with skis, heavy winter clothing, and enough supplies for weeks. They aimed to earn the highest certification in Soviet mountaineering. Friends described them as disciplined, adventurous, and united by a deep bond. Nothing about this expedition suggested it would end in tragedy, until it did. On January 27, 1959, the team began their journey into the icy wilderness. Their route would take them through deep snow, frozen rivers, and dense forests, ending at Mount Otorten, a peak whose name in the language of the indigenous Mansi people ominously translates to "Don't go there." The trek was meant to be grueling, but safe for such an experienced group. Diaries and photographs recovered later show laughter, campfire meals, and a sense of adventure. But the weather turned against them. Strong winds, freezing temperatures, and blinding snow slowed their progress. By February 1st, they had reached the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, known as the Mountain of the Dead. For reasons still debated, they set up camp on an exposed slope instead of seeking shelter in the nearby forest. Perhaps it was to save time. Or perhaps they were disoriented in the storm. That night, as the wind howled outside, something happened that forced the group to abandon their tent in the dead of night. When the campsite was later found, it was a frozen snapshot of chaos. A tent slashed open from the inside, belongings left behind, as if the hikers had fled in a hurry. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, friends and family demanded a search. At first, the rescue mission consisted of volunteers, but soon the Soviet military joined in, bringing aircraft and trained search teams. For days, they combed the snow-covered wilderness, fighting freezing winds and waist-deep snow. Then, on February 26th, a searcher spotted something unusual: the partially buried remains of a tent. As they approached, it became clear. This was no simple accident. Something had gone terribly wrong. The tent was half collapsed, partially buried in snow. Investigators were shocked to find it cut open from the inside, suggesting the hikers had slashed their way out rather than use the entrance. Inside were clothes, boots, food, and even personal diaries. Everything you would expect them to take if they had left voluntarily. The footprints leading away from the tent told a strange story. They were in socks, or even barefoot, walking into the dark, sub-zero night. Not far from the tent, at the edge of a forest, rescuers found the first 2 bodies. They were dressed only in underwear, barefoot, lying beside the remnants of a small fire. 3 more bodies were discovered between the forest and the tent, as if they had been trying to return. The temperatures that night had dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Hypothermia seemed a likely cause, but the strange circumstances suggested there was more to the story. 2 months later, the remaining 4 hikers were found, buried beneath 4 meters of snow in a nearby ravine. Unlike the others, their injuries were severe: fractured skulls, crushed ribs, and internal bleeding, yet no external wounds. It was as if they had been hit by a massive force. One woman's body was missing her tongue and eyes. Investigators were baffled. There was no sign of struggle, no tracks from animals or other people, only silence. Tests revealed traces of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing. Witnesses from nearby villages reported strange glowing orbs in the sky on the night of the tragedy. The indigenous Mansi people told investigators of a curse on the mountain. Meanwhile, the government quietly closed the area for years after the incident, fueling speculation of a cover-up. The Soviet investigation concluded vaguely. The hikers died due to a compelling natural force. Avalanche was the official theory, but the slope was too gentle, and there was no evidence of one. The injuries didn't match an avalanche either. In the absence of a clear explanation, the files were sealed, and the mystery faded into whispers. Over the decades, theories have flourished. Some believe secret military tests drove the hikers into panic. Others suggest infrasound, low-frequency vibrations, caused disorientation and terror. There are those who point to UFO encounters or even cryptid attacks. Every theory solves some pieces of the puzzle, but none explains it all. The truth remains hidden beneath the snow. Today, the Dyatlov Pass Incident stands as one of the most enduring unsolved mysteries of the modern age. 9 young lives ended on that frozen slope, their final moments lost to time. Perhaps someday, science or fate will uncover the truth. Until then, we are left with questions and the haunting silence of the Mountain of the Dead. What do you think happened?